much, Your Excellency. And Excellency, as you heard...
So therefore, in terms of business planning, when you are here, you are in the right place at the right time. In terms of planning, so you can have the production, you have the market of Uganda, market of East Africa, market of Africa. But also, we have negotiated with the United States for what we call AGOA, African Growth Opportunity Act, where we can sell to the United States. You know, there are many Africans in the United States. They were taken there as slaves, but they are now a very powerful group there. And one of them, you remember, was president of that country recently. You must have heard of that African who was president of United States. And we have trade arrangements with China and with the UAE, not UAE, European Union. So therefore you have the internal market, you have the regional market, you have the continental market, and then you have got the third-party markets, including like the one of Dubai, of UAE. So now, number 3, you need infrastructure. You need infrastructure to do a number of things. First of all, to power the production, like you need electricity, to power the factories and so on. You need the water to use in the factories. You need the telephones. You need the transport, the roads, the railway, the ports, the water transport. All that is part of infrastructure. So that you are connected, so that the producer of the good or the service is connected to the consumer. Now, all these are in place, or are being put in place, or can be put in place here, in the case of Uganda. Then you need the natural resources. And Uganda has got a big spectrum, a wide spectrum of natural resources from which you can produce the goods or the services. As you can see, we have got very good agriculture. If you look at recently there were problems in the world, war in Ukraine, Corona, what? And many people in the other parts of the world had a lot of problems. Inflation went up. Inflation. Here, initially inflation went up a bit to 10%, but it is now 2%. It is one of the lowest in the world, the inflation rate. Why? Because we have got everything here. We have got food, except those who don't want to eat our indigenous food. They are the ones who suffer. But like me, I have no problem at all. We have all the food, the biggest, greatest foods here. We have the raw materials for everything else, for textiles, for what? From agriculture. Like, for instance, our people here were importing leather from China. Why import leather from China? We have everything here. So we have now put up our leather factories. no more importation of leather. Instead, we shall be exporting. So the agro-processing is a huge area to process grains, process milk, dairy products, process beef, process our movement, which started as a student movement in the 1960s as part of the anti-colonial movement. We have been able to tell our people that we need to work with the private sector from wherever. Because if somebody comes, wherever, regardless of where he comes from, and puts a factory here, we are going to share benefits with him. Initially, Africans here did not understand the importance of the private sector. The African leaders, they made a lot of mistakes in the 1960s and 70s because they did not understand clearly the anatomy of private sector. And I tried to talk to some of them, but they didn't get it clearly. Otherwise, Africa would be very far now. These countries like South Korea was much poorer than many of the African countries. But because our leaders made a mistake on the issue of the private sector, starting with Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, then our other leaders here, they confiscated private property. They were calling it nationalization. I don't know how you call it in Arabic. Nationalization, what was the translation? Because I want them to understand it. Nationalization. What was it called? Where the government was taking over private businesses. What was it called?
Your Excellency, thank you for the opportunity. It's called in Arabic ta'meem.
Huh?
Ta'meem in Arabic. Ta'meem, yes.
Ta'meem.
Which means the government takes over all the business sector.
Oh, okay. Now, that ta'meem was a big mistake here. Now, in Swahili, which is linked with Arabic, one of our languages called Swahili is linked with Arabic. They call it kutaifisha. Taifa, I think is also in Arabic, meaning country, taifa. So here in Swahili we say kutaifisha. When the country takes over my private. So this was many people outside don't know why Africa has lagged behind. This was one of the main reasons. You can imagine here in Uganda, we had our Indian people who had come from India and become Ugandan. And they were very active. You know, our Indian people are very active in business. But one of our leaders, Idi Amin, chased them and stole their property. Idi Amin. Why was he chasing these people? They were working for the country in an area where the African Ugandans were not active, because the African Ugandans were in crops, in livestock, in fishing, but not in business. They were not active in business. And these Indians were active there. But Idi Amin chased them. But when we came, we brought them back. I don't know whether there are some more here. our returnee Indians, did they come? I'm congratulating them from 9, from sleeping. Now, if you had built that factory in India, we would not say Ugandan factory in India, we would say Indian factory in India, regardless of who you are. So, because if you went and built that factory in India, it would be part of the Indian GDP, not part of Uganda's GDP. So when these people come and build factories here, these are part of Uganda's GDP, gross domestic product. So tell your people to stop saying that factory yomu yindi, Thank you very much.
On has 14 gold refineries, but His Excellency Rashid revealed to us yesterday that they have coffee in the factories, that they do value addition of coffee. They do value addition on tea. They do value addition on gold, but they have 0 reserves of gold and 0 gardens of coffee and tea. And therefore, they look at Uganda as a gateway, not only to East Africa, but the gateway to the whole of Africa. Your Excellency, the delegation from UAE gave us good assurance, and they walk the talk. You know the global gases that you did attract, they're already here. Your Excellency, Amir Power, you did talk to them. They are now building for us that solar plant in Madiokolo for energy security. Your Excellency, you've heard from Modern Tiles, creating jobs for Ugandans. Your Excellency, One Mobility, interested, and KCCA made a very big pitch that they must come and work on the road infrastructure and also the transport of the public sector. Your Excellency, allow me to say this about Uganda that you have created, that your energy and efforts to the development of Uganda, if you invest in Uganda, you are looking for stability for your investment, and the country is Uganda in the region. We are very peaceful end to end, to the extent that we even do not only take care of the peace and stability of our people, we are the ones taking care of peace and stability of the people of Somalia. We are the ones ensuring that there's peace and stability in Democratic Republic of Congo.
From UAE to be attracted to here, because we believe, Your Excellency, a successful business will not happen unless there's a win-win case. So we want to facilitate for the two sides to take advantage of each other. 2, we want to encourage the trade and the tourism. 3, we want to promote technology transfer for both of our countries. And if a businessman from your side, from Uganda, thinking why shall they consider Abu Dhabi? As you are all aware of, we have a very clear vision. We have a very clear strategy. 80% of the world population could be reached from UAE within 8 hours flying. And that gives it a very strong logistic platform to travel in and out. And we have different incubator, not to forget the last important points. We have diversified and different financial support and non-financial support to the potential investments. And what do we in Abu Dhabi look for? And UAE in general as well. We believe, first of all sectors are important. There's no sectors less important than the others. However, we believe that there are sectors in Abu Dhabi, if we concentrate on the impact of the GDP will be higher. Again, we have a vision, we called it Falcon economy. We want by 2040, our GDP to reach $1 trillion, that's in Abu Dhabi. So, the sectors that we believe in would have bigger impact are the financial services, the agri-tech, the tourism, ICT, healthcare, biopharmaceutical, and the industrial. And when we dig down,
His Excellency the President and the members of his delegation from the United Arab Emirates, including the embassy staff and the consulate staff. That's the very last photo. Your Excellency, do appreciate that gesture and will be part of COP28 with the pavilion. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this morning's session for the second day of our business forum. We want to invite you to lunch before the next session after lunch. Lunch will be in the same area where we were yesterday.